Welcome to State of Wellness, a one-stop resource for anyone who's interested in worksite health promotion programs at the state level. Working with the thousands of businesses in a state is a challenge. State of Wellness provides a central location for collaboration with opportunities to share strategies and tools,
Wellness. Today we have
saving
California.
time and resources.
Teresa, would you like to introduce today's presenters?
Hello, everyone. This is Teresa. Introduce the state of California today. He's going to do the presentation for Worksite Wellness for State of Wellness. We have two speakers. We have Chris Tompkins, who is marketing specialist for the Network for a Healthy California Worksite Program, Cancer Prevention and Nutrition section of the California Department for Public Health. Chris's work involves a lot of research development, implementation, evaluation of the statewide social marketing campaign, and also focuses on improving health of the low-wage workers, specifically in regard to nutrition and physical activity. And Chris has a MBA and a MS in kinesiology, has experience in corporate wellness, safety, and health, and also is an adjunct professor. Jacqueline Chung, our other speaker, is program manager for this program and has a bachelor's degree in ethics studies with a minor in psychology, an MBA in marketing and public health management, and is also working on a PhD in health leadership through the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. Jacqueline's background is in journalism, marketing, nonprofit management, strategic business development, and, of course, Worksite Wellness. And Jacqueline works on the development of the Worksite Wellness Program, also focusing on specific vegetables and physical activity with a goal to reduce chronic diseases. And I think Chris is going to speak with us first. So, Chris?
Yes, ma'am. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Jackie and I are excited to present a little bit about what we do and primarily putting together this Promoting Healthy Worksites the California Way. So if you can, hold your questions till the end of the presentation. That way we can address any comments or concerns, or if you have any further questions that require more information than what we provide in our presentation. So what we primarily do in California is our major goal of the Network for Healthy California Worksite Program. We use social marketing campaigns to empower Californians to eat the recommended amount of fruit and vegetables and enjoy physical activity each day. Through this program, our goal is to reduce chronic diseases such as certain types of cancers, obesity, type 2 diabetes, and heart disease. The work program not only reaches adults at work sites, but also their families, benefiting both from company and employee interventions we introduce at the work sites. One thing that makes California unique is the fact that we are a diverse state. What I did is I put together a table for you, giving you examples of national statistics and also California statistics. As you can see from the slide, our Hispanic population is 37% of our population, whereas national is around 15.8%. Again, our Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders is around 13.1%, and African Americans 6.6, excuse me, and then non-Hispanic whites is 41.7. Due to the diversity of California, we have made available some of our materials in Spanish, English, and Chinese to help ensure that we are impacting our population as in depth as possible, and ensuring that when we visit our work sites or implement these programs, we can make sure that they are following our programs and are able to incorporate our suggestions or our program to the fullest extent. So one thing we have to look at when we develop these programs for California is the actual reason behind it, or the cost to California. as far as the obesity, overweight, and physical inactivity associated with disease and how it impacts the bottom dollar for corporations in the state of California. I put a couple of graphs up here, and they appear to be a little bit smaller as we squeeze them in as opposed to doing another slide, but you can kind of see that, over the years, California's experienced a 61% increase in obesity from 2001 to 2009. So we're understanding that even if this is not associated with Worksite in itself, we are experiencing that fruit and vegetable consumption and physical inactivity is an item that we need to address, especially in Worksite in itself. Over this period of time, and done from a study in 2009 from the California survey, dietary survey that was published or pretty soon, basically states that 41.2 billion to 21 billion are associated with overweight and obesity, and these are costs to California, as well as physical inactivity is around 20.2 billion, which half of it comes from lost productivity. If we were to look at this from a whole perspective, we can analyze that even if we were to have some impact within the Worksite program, even a 5% reduction of overweight, obesity, and physical inactivity would save the state of California $2.4 billion per year, which obviously with the new budget concerns and items where we address certain financial issues, this would be a great relief for California. So we have to take an initiative to implement these Worksites as most effectively as possible. However, when we do look at the majority of statistics that come up from these surveys we essentially are collecting information from, we discover that there are barriers for working adults to achieve healthy lifestyles and opportunities for interventions, and these include accessibility of fruits and vegetables. And although I haven't put the graph up here, I can send an email link to some of these statistics if you're if you would like it later on. But primarily, we're looking that around 52% of Latinos that reported on these surveys have access to fruit and vegetable at work sites or within walking distance. So we also have to look at, 48% of these individuals do not have access to fruit and vegetables. They do not have access to these items within walking distance either. So it might be within our best practices to educate these individuals that maybe bringing fruit and vegetables to their work sites could increase their health, giving them different options in which we can try and fight against, overweight, inactivity, and other diseases that our main goal is trying to capture. One survey that we looked at primarily, and this is where we base the majority of our information of, is that we have to look at some statistics derived from a study conducted by the American Stroke Association revealed that of individuals aged 25 to 44, 8 of 10 Americans believe they live healthy lifestyles, which we found pretty interesting as we were looking at the overall view individuals have of themselves or beliefs that they have, that they are participating in healthy activities and healthy lifestyles. However, of that same survey, the group identified that in actuality, only 3 of 10 Americans are living healthy lifestyles by eating the daily recommended amounts of fruits and vegetables and being physically active every day. So we have to consider that, the educational model built around individuals, that they feel they're being healthy or they feel that they're partaking in physical activity to the extent that they are being healthy is not being met. So the primary purpose, it falls into our purpose or our goal of the Worksite Wellness Program to keep implementing these tools that we're going to discuss pretty soon after we get into a few more slides, but also being able to educate those individuals on what is healthy activity, what are what is physical activity, and how can we introduce it into the worksite or to the individual. So then why do we implement worksite programs? Within California, we have to consider that 3 of 5 working age Californians are currently employed. So this gives us a big majority of the population of California we can impact. Although we do have qualification criteria through our funder that limits us to a certain amount of job sites, we do look at the worksite program as being able to impact a lot of the population. And one of these reasons is because our work sites are a viable place to promote fruit and vegetable consumption and physical activity. When speaking of our funder for this program, the Network for Healthy California, the Worksite Program, is funded by the USDA SNAP program, which primarily is known as to California as the CalFresh, or formerly the Food Stamps Program. CalFresh provides assistance to low-income households and can help buy nutritious foods for better health. If you need any additional information, we've listed the CalFresh phone number here for you, and also the website in which you can contact them or derive a little bit more information. One of the unique things that we have to consider as far as Worksite is the funding that we receive from CalFresh or the USDA is that we have strict requirements on how work sites can qualify or how we can service those work sites, and which doesn't enable us from impacting all the work sites in California, but because we are looking for a specific population, primarily the low-wage population, we have to target specific industries or specific work sites within those industries to make sure that we're meeting our funders' needs. So taking into consideration how ethnically diverse California is, we're targeting industries with the highest percentage of individuals that would qualify under the USDA guidelines. These industries, and this isn't all the industries, we just put down a few that would be most informational for you. The agricultural industry. Over the past year to 2 years, we're starting to find that a lot of low-income or low-wage individuals are working within the agricultural industry inside packing plants, farming, and equipment manufacturers. For example, our Central Valley region, which we'll cover regions in a few minutes, the majority of the work sites we have there are based in the agricultural industry. And however, when you look toward more, Southern California, let's say San Diego area or Los Angeles area, there aren't a lot of agricultural industries within or work sites within that area. So then we have to focus on other areas such as the retail industry. Example would be Cardenas Market or Northgate Market, which are primarily based in Southern California. Also, we have hotel industries that we have as work sites, including, the Hilton, Pinnacle, and Doubletree, which primarily spread across California. However, we have to look at the wages these individuals are earning and if they qualify as a work site. Other organizations or other industries that are included with potential work sites we try and impact are nonprofit or for-profit companies, which includes Goodwill Industries or Corcoran YMCA. So you can see that we do cover as many work sites as possible. And like I said, this does not list all of the work sites that we have, as obviously each region entails X amount of work sites, and our goal is to try and impact as many as possible. This is a map of California, and it's kind of divided, or it is divided into our separate regions. As you can kind of see, or if it's not it shouldn't be too fuzzy on your computer screen. Northern California is comprised of a couple of different regions, and in the middle of California it separates into about 5 different regions that are primarily different as far as work sites are considered. More Central California is agricultural based. We have a lot of separate industries in the farming population or farming industry, in our farm working manufacturing, and also retail. And then as you can see toward the southern part of California, including San Diego, Orange County, Los Angeles, and also San Bernardino, these are all areas which we try and impact more retail, hotel industries. However, we do have bits and pieces of agricultural spread throughout California. It does adjust from region to region. Of all these 11 regions that you can see on this map, the Worksite program is currently in 7 of these regions. It is our goal to get into all 11, but depending on the amount of work sites or the potential amount of work sites within each region, that kind of dictates how we're able to impact them or allocate funding to it. To the main purpose of the presentation, which is our tools that we implement at these work sites. And one of our main items is our California Fit Business Kit. The California Fit Business Kit is based on sound research. It has 10 free tools, and if you need to access these tools, I've put the web link here to give you an idea of where they're at. And to give you background based on how these tools were developed, over 2 years, between 2005 and 2006, the Worksite Program Fit Business Kit, which is this item, was developed as a collection of evidence-based resources to help support businesses in their efforts to provide healthy work environments for their employees. A significant amount of businesses were surveyed, employees were surveyed to try and find out if these tools would be effective, how effective would they be, what information should be changed on it to be more of an educational opportunity for these employees, and how often would they be used. So we're not just putting these tools together and putting them out in the work site saying, this might happen or this might not happen. This is researched. We have gone through an extensive research program or contract to make sure that these tools are implemented and can be beneficial on these work sites. So why the California Fit Business Kit? It's primarily a comprehensive program that offers nutrition and physical activity education. Within these comprehensive nutrition and physical activity education, these 10 tools help employers and their employees create sustainable environmental changes. Now, when we talk about sustainable, our main goal is to provide assistance to these work sites, give them these tools, show them how to use these tools, and allow their employees and their worksite committees or individuals that are partaking, more of your corporate wellness or your wellness lead, worksite wellness lead, and giving them the opportunity to keep the program going, because the whole point of impacting California or reducing costs to employers, increasing productivity of the employees, and also increasing morale, is to keep these programs going. One experience that we've kind of drawn from over the past 6 months is that our qualification criteria changed with USDA, and we were not able to hold on to some of our work sites because they no longer qualified for our service. So what we did was it was developed, and we'll get into it a little bit on the next slides, or next few slides, is our Worksite Wellness Resource Directory, which Jackie's going to talk a little bit about. But it gives resources to these individuals so that they can continue on with these programs even if they do not have our assistance. And the majority of the programs that we had to cease assistance with are still keeping their wellness programs going, which allows us to analyze it and basically what we implemented is still being completed at these work sites, and companies are still trying to keep these programs going, which is very a positive aspect on the worksite program in itself. One of our first items that our coordinators in each region do when trying to sell to these work sites or introduce them to the California Fit Business Kit is they usually provide them with a sell-in brochure. These sell-in brochures are an informational packet, and it allows the employer to see the benefits of worksite wellness programs, look at the different aspects of the California Fit Business Kit, see some success stories that employees have experienced over time with the implementation of worksite programs, a few common questions and answers to these questions, and then also, most importantly, how do they get started? What's their main process they need to go through in order to get this worksite going? Now, whether they qualify for service from the Network for Healthy California or they do not, we still give them the opportunity to actually implement these programs through online resources. One thing is noted is that if a site does qualify through the USDA guidelines, we do give them a Fit Business Kit. We do give them one-on-one meetings and informational trainings and train-the-trainer model to make sure that these work sites can become sustainable. However, if they don't qualify, they do have access to all these materials online, which, again, all the listeners on this webinar have access to via the links that we're going to provide at the very end. So we don't want to exclude corporations. We don't want to exclude specific work sites because all this information is beneficial to California as a whole. So the first tool that we implement in the California Fit Business Kit is probably it is our most utilized tool, and this is the Check for Health tool. The Check for Health tool is designed so that our employers can see the characteristics of their employees, view different areas in which they might need additional help in providing feedback for the employees, looking at the food environment, looking at policies and incentives that are currently implemented at that work site or could be implemented, looking for administrative support. And if you have implemented a wellness program before, you have to understand that if we do not have administrative support, if we don't have manager support or executive support, a wellness program primarily is not going to be a sustainable program. It needs to have that upper management support in order to keep going throughout these programs. So this tool allows a corporation to survey the employees, find out the needs and individual characteristics of what the employees want, and also the culture of the company in order to develop the most accepted program and most in-depth program for their employees. The second tool that is most commonly used is our Wellness Committee tool. What this tool does is it develops a primary infrastructure of sustaining long-term health promotions in work sites. So what it is a step-by-step process in order to get a wellness committee going. It establishes key concepts. It allows individuals to, from a step-by-step perspective, put a committee together. Who are individuals that should primarily be involved in a committee? How would a committee work? Do we meet weekly? Do we meet bi-weekly? Do we meet monthly? Identify recruiting members. Who would be important components of it? How do we bring the committee together? And most importantly, how do we look at the Check for Health items to make sure that this committee is doing the job that they need to do to make sure that this wellness program is going to be impacted at that work site. Also, it looks over action plan and finding funding for the worksite program. And sometimes you can implement worksite programs that don't require a significant amount of funding, but it's always encouraged by the worksite or the employer that the bottom line of their corporation, the more that they can essentially assist the worksite program, they're going to see a return on investment. Some researches or studies out there currently right now, depending on the company, have a return on investment for every dollar that they're putting into this worksite program. They're getting $3 to $4 back. However, these studies, it takes 4, 5, 6 years to actually start seeing some of the benefits from worksite programs or worksite wellness programs. So it's important to understand it, or to relay to these companies that this is not something that's going to happen immediately. It's something that needs to be addressed in the corporation. It needs to be within the culture of the company. And over a period of time, that's where you start to see these return on investments with this wellness committee and with these tools. And then also an important component or further meetings with the wellness committee is the year-end evaluation. And I find this to be an important part of the wellness committee tool, because if you're not evaluating what's going on, if you're not taking into consideration how the employees are involved with the different types of tools that they offer. Let's say, for example, that of these 10 tools, the company is only utilizing 2 of these tools. Well, which tools are they? Why are they utilizing them? Is it more nutritional components that they're utilizing? Is it physical activity? Is it both? Or is it just the wellness committee and the check for health? So how can we, or this wellness committee, put together a plan, or let's say a blueprint plan for year 3 or year 4 or year 5, to make sure that they're trying to utilize as many of these tools as possible, because they can make an impact on these work sites. The next tool that we have is a healthy meeting tool. And what this does is it gives general guidelines on or suggestions for when you have meetings. It's a board meeting or a wellness committee meeting or a manager's meeting or a safety meeting. Within California, it's required by all companies, especially for individuals out in our agricultural industry, that every 14 days they have to have a safety meeting. Well, at these meetings, why can't we offer some type of nutritional component, whether it's fruit and vegetables or 100% fruit juice or water or tea, especially to our individuals that are out in the farms or are harvesting, that would require water, require hydration to keep them healthy and safe while they're performing their duties. So what this is it's basically a tool to just give suggestions on how we can move from giving, bagels and cream cheese and giving better options to saying, well, hey, if you're going to give cream cheese, why not give low-fat cream cheese? Or why not give breads, bagels, and muffins that are whole grain as opposed to just being something with a significant amount of additives to it? But one thing that we do need to take into consideration is with these healthy meeting, this healthy meeting tool, we do encourage water at all the meetings. We do encourage fruit and vegetable consumptions. And then if they offer other items, it's more or less which ones are the better choice for your corporation, which ones could help with performance, which ones could help decrease the prevalence of obesity at these work sites. And we also offer outside of meetings, meals during these meetings. So we might have sandwiches that are offered or side dishes. And we kind of give a few examples here of, sliced low-fat cheeses, lean meats, or low-fat spreads, as opposed to your pizzas or as opposed to your fast food items. Even though everyone loves the taste of these fast food companies, we have to consider how does that impact our workforce. One survey actually looks at the education of Californians in their work sites and how they either choose or have access to fruit and vegetables. Do they consume more fast food items? Do they consume more home-prepared items? And the study basically shows that your individuals with a high school degree are less likely to prepare items at food or make healthier choices than your individuals that have education above and beyond your high school degree. So it's showing that education does have an impact on whether individuals are including fruit and vegetables into their main meals or including physical activity, making healthier choices. The next tool we have is the Healthy Vending Machines. And what this is it's giving guidelines on mandatory nutrition standards, recommended nutrition standards, and mandatory pricing and placement of standards. So we have to look at, one, mandatory nutrition standards. We want to try and limit the amount of calories or items that are offered in these vending machines. How often are these vending machines used? I mean, you look at call centers for large corporations. Individuals are sitting behind their desk the majority of the time. They're on the phone the majority of the time. They might not have long breaks, maybe 5-10 minute breaks, or they want to utilize their lunches some other time, so they're going to these vending machines for quick little snacks while they're at their desk. And if they have a limited option in these vending machines, then they are primarily not making healthy choices, especially if these vending machines don't offer these healthier items. So what this does, it allows a company to go to these vendors and basically say, hey, these are the things that we're looking for inside these vending machines. We understand that you make your money off of specific products, but we want these products in here, and we also want these other products located in specific areas that aren't going to be utilized most of the time. So you have to consider when looking at a vending machine, whatever is eye level to those individuals is most likely has a higher percentage of being selected as opposed to things at the very bottom or things at the very top. So we want to place our healthier items at eye level in these work sites to increase the chance that they're going to make those healthier choices. And then also beverage standards, you know. Obviously, we have sodas, we have other items that are offered in these machines, but are they including water? Are they including 100% juice drinks? How are we allowing these work sites to dictate what is offered in their facilities and how they can better make choices for their, or not for their employees, but with these vendors to offer better products? And another tool we have is our Healthy Dining tool. This Healthy Dining tool allows entree guidelines, which analyzes how many calories are within these entrees, fats, cholesterol, and sodium, and also gives different examples of what are good ranges we need to stay in, what is good, what is bad. But an important component here is, do most individuals know how to read a food label? Okay? And at our work sites, we're trying to teach these individuals, or the train-the-trainer model, on how to read how many calories are in a meal, what's good for you, what's bad for you. Are you making a healthier choice out of this? How can we analyze primarily if these individuals are knowing what they're eating? Okay, and then also substitutes, or what could be a good side dish, what could be a good appetizer, or what could be good desserts. Obviously, desserts are an item that we have to consider, but what makes one dessert a little more desirable to an individual without losing that taste, without losing that flavor, and how can they look at these different aspects to make sure that they are meeting these healthier choices? At this point, I'm going to turn over to my coworker and manager, Jackie Chung, so that she can continue talking about the rest of the tools that we offer, and then I'll come back in at the end of the presentation and talk a little bit about how the Worksite program is evolving and where we see it going in the future.
Hi, everyone. Okay, the next tool that we're going to talk about is Take Action. Take Action is a 10-week program. And what it is, basically, employees at a company divide into teams and compete against each other for points. We actually have little cards that track the points. So for physical activity, 1 minute equals 1 point. For the fruit and vegetable challenge, 1 cup equals 1 point. So there's 2 challengers, fruit and vegetable challenge and physical activity challenge. This is basically one of our most popular tools. I think it's because it gets people excited, gets them jazzed and excited about doing worksite wellness. And the next tool that we're going to look at is produce deliveries or fruit club. This basically entails having fresh produce delivered to a worksite. This can be paid for by the company, partially subsidized by the company, or paid for by employees. So usually fresh produce is delivered once or twice a week and placed in a break room. And that way employees at the company can enjoy fresh fruit. I've even seen fresh fruit clubs where the fruit is available for employees to take home to their families. The next tool is Physical Activity Club. This actually used to be Walking Club, but it evolved into Physical Activity Club because we realized that walking wasn't the only physical activity that employees could do at a work site. So all that this entails is basically physical activity is initiated by employees at a work site. This does include walking club, biking club, so pretty much anything goes. The next tool is Healthy Stairwells. Healthy Stairwells, this is only applicable if the work site has a stairwell, which can be used. With Healthy Stairwells, you make sure that the stairwell is safe and well lit, and where company policies and building codes permit, you would hang posters promoting healthy eating and physical activity or disease management. And the last tool from the California Fit Business Kit that I'm going to talk about is Farmers Market. This is arguably one of the hardest tools to implement. And this is because Farmers Market, and I know you've all been to, they're usually a collaborative effort that involves, it's basically many individuals, several companies, and it takes a lot of time and energy to put together. You would also have to go to your city and get permits, and it usually takes quite some time to put it together. So in this tool, we have a little guide set up, and it gives you instructions on how to put together and maintain your farmers market. So that's the end of our tools from the California Fit Business Kit. The next tool I'm going to talk about, this is a resource, a Worksite Wellness Resource Directory. This was put together out of necessity, and as Chris mentioned earlier, what happened was that because qualification criteria for our programs changed in the state of California, we realized we couldn't continue to serve all of the work sites that we had previously been working with. But we didn't want to leave them without any resources, and we wanted to create a way for them to continue in their worksite wellness efforts. So basically what we created was within each region in the state of California, we created a Worksite Wellness Resource Directory, and all it is, it's basically a listing of all the resources in the local area that you can use to build a Worksite Wellness program. And I forgot to mention earlier, so the California Fit Business Kit, that is available to any state-level entity that if you would like a copy, we'll provide all of our contact information in the end. For the Worksite Wellness Resource Directory, the template, we have it in Publisher. The resources would probably be different if you're not in the state of California. However, you can take our template and kind of use it as a guide to create your own Worksite Wellness Resource Directory. And right now, this Worksite Wellness Resource Directory, we not only distribute it to companies that are no longer our work sites, but we also distribute it to our current work sites and also potential work sites. So it really is a broad resource that can be used across the board to any company that just wants a bit more information on how to build a worksite wellness program. And what you're looking at right now, these are cookbooks that were developed by the Network for Healthy California. Everyday Healthy Meals is a cookbook that was developed for basically our working population, and it has a bunch of healthy meals that are quick and easy to prepare. And the Network for Healthy California has also generated other cookbooks. Healthy Latino Recipes comes from our Latino campaign. Soulful Recipes comes from our African American campaign. And there's the Chinese cookbook from Healthy Chinese Recipes from, we actually don't have a Network for Healthy California Chinese program, but this was created in conjunction, it was a collaborative effort with the Chinatown Public Health Center. And I've tried the recipes from all of these cookbooks. They're actually approved by the Network for Healthy California, as well as these are CDC approved recipes. All of these recipes are also available online, and also if there are any state-level worksite wellness programs that are interested, I would also be happy to send you a sample of each cookbook. We also developed a series of posters with the Worksite program. A lot of research was put into these posters. So what you're looking at right now, these are the Eat Healthy, Healthy Eating posters. They were created, they're actually dual-sided, so they're in English Spanish and English Chinese. In the state of California, aside from English, Spanish and Chinese are the other languages that are most commonly spoken at home. And also the Chinese language, there are many different dialects of Chinese. However, all dialects read the same written language. So that was another factor that went into our decision to put it into English Spanish and English Chinese. And the next poster that you're looking at, these are the physical activity posters, and they were created along the same lines. These are also available in English Spanish and English Chinese. And I'm going to turn it back over to Chris to talk about future ideas to evolve the Worksite program.
Over the past couple of years, and also with the new qualifying change with the USDA, we're starting to see an increase in how we can evolve the Worksite Fit Business Kit. Primarily, what tools are being used more than other tools? Are these tools applicable to worksites? For example, the stairwell tool. Not all the worksites that we're looking at now have stairwells. So how can we make that a tool or adjust that tool to include physical activity, which the main point of the tool is for increasing physical activity? Is it asking employees to park further away from their office building to where they're getting that 5-minute walk, 10-minute walk? How many steps are they going through to increase their physical activity throughout the day? Is there a way that different aspects of those tools can be changed or modified to allow individuals the opportunity to partake in physical activity or other nutritional needs? Other things that we have to consider too is our physical activity club. Sometimes, especially out at our agricultural sites or our farming sites, individuals are performing physical activity every single day. They're harvesting fruits, they're squatting, lifting, doing repetitive movements. How can we incorporate a program or a club to increase warm-up procedures for these individuals, increase range of motion through stretching programs, incorporate different aspects inside that tool that would be more specific for that industry. Currently, right now, we're analyzing all 10 tools in each of the regions we discussed earlier, in retail, in the agricultural industry, in the hotel industry and also in the profit or nonprofit, finding out which tools are working best in each one, and the ones that are not working well, how can we modify them, change them to where we develop a packet to give to our coordinators out in the regions to make sure that these companies are having the most resources available to them so that they can implement these programs and have success and develop or build a sustainable program. Another thing we have to consider within our agricultural industry is our vending machine. Obviously out in the farming population, unless you run an electrical cord out into the fields and hook up a vending machine, which is probably not, it's not done at our sites, we have to consider what are other ways in which employees have access to foods. And one thing we have to consider is catering trucks. Catering trucks go out to these work sites, but how can we give the employer the tools necessary to work with that contractor or that vendor and say, hey, can you offer these specific types of items? Are they cold items? Are they warm items? Are these things that my employees are going to eat? Are they things that are nutritional for them? How can we implement these changes or give these guidelines and suggestions to these companies without actually taking into consideration the needs of these companies, the specific way in we can develop these tools to expand. And one way that we're looking at that is working with our other campaigns and programs. Like Jackie talked a little bit about before with our cookbooks, we have a Latino American program, which we're working on an in-depth basis with to develop new tools for the Worksite program for the agricultural industry. Also in the retail industry, we're working with the African American campaign to make sure that our new physical activity tools that we're developing are culturally sensitive to our African American population or our Latino American population. We're trying to take into every consideration we can to make sure that the tools we do implement are research-based, are developed to where they can impact that corporation or that work site and be effective while doing it. With that, we need to take into consideration the very first item we talked about on our sell-ins. How are our coordinators going to these work sites and effectively speaking with the supervisors, with the managers, with the human resources, with the owners of these companies to get these programs going. One thing we're finding out as we're going into the agricultural industry or the agricultural region, we just can't have our coordinators go out to these work sites, walk on a farm, and then say, hey, this is what I have offered to you, because they're going to turn them away immediately. We have to make appointments. We have to go through proper channels, and by developing partnerships with areas such as AgSafe in California, or working with other farmers that have corporations or committees as far as various aspects of the farming industry, we're able to develop communication and develop specific partnerships and friendships with these companies and corporations to where it's easier for our coordinators to do sell-ins. It's easier to contact these farmers or these retail business owners or hotel industries and making sure that they are properly trained on how to do it, how these sell-ins are are very, very important to these worksite programs, because that's the initial starting point. That's the point in which an individual, if we have a great sell-in and we know how to go out to these industries, they're able to be effective when doing it. With that, that's kind of our future ideas to evolve the worksite program. Like I said, we're looking at changing, not necessarily changing or throwing out tools, but how can we allow these tools to evolve with the new times? How are we incorporating other aspects or taking into consideration cultural differences or with even our different ethnicities, but also the cultural differences of different companies, and being able to cater to and structure these tools to be most effective. With that, this very last slide, we list some resources for you. One of them is for the California Fit Business Kit. There's your web link for you. Again, reiterating what Jackie said, if you are a state lead, give us a call or contact us via email, which is on our last slide, and we can send these items to you. But if you wanted to look at them now, you can print them up on your own from your own computer. Just click on the link. They're all in PDF files. You're able to download them, save them in your computer, print them up if you need them, and able to utilize them. The other tool is the Take Action tool. And then if you need to contact us or read a little bit about or do a little research on our Worksite program, here's the web link to us and also the Champion for Change website, which you can learn a little bit more about the Network for Healthy California and what we're doing to overall impact the state of California. And here's our information, our contact information. I'm Chris Tompkins, Jackie Chung, and we were very, very happy to present the Worksite program to you. And if you have any questions, the floor is open.
Awesome. You guys did a great job. Teresa, are you there? Would you like to start off the questions? All right, I'll wait for Teresa to show up. Okay, we have a few questions here from Lisa.
Okay.
Are there release of liability and PAR-Q type health questions addressed in the business kit? And if so, how?
Because the PAR-Q is basically a screening factor for individuals if they have any risk factors associated or that could come of an issue with physical activity. Most of the time, if they are incorporating a physical activity program, the company would usually disperse these forms, allow them to review them, and also consult with a physician should any further risk factors be discovered through the process of filling out these forms. As a state program, our coordinators are not there to run these activities. We're there to train the individuals and do a train-the-trainer model to where they can have or develop sustainable sites. So it's actually up to the work sites to implement these tools and programs. So from a state level and also from a regional level, we do not implement these forms, but at the work sites we do encourage it.
Okay. Let's see. Are qualifying businesses given funding at the beginning, or actually what does it mean to be qualified, I guess?
What it means to be qualified is we are given specific guidelines that as a worksite program, or okay, go ahead, Jackie.
So from the state level in California, USDA, our funder, has set forth specific qualification criteria. So in the state of California, basically 50% or more of the employees have to be at or below 185% of federal poverty level. So that's basically what it means to qualify a work site.
And also, funding is not given to these work sites. Funding is essentially given to the Network for Healthy California, and we have regional coordinators that implement these programs. So the funding is to these coordinators to implement all these work sites, and we hold them accountable as to how many work sites they are required to have each year. They have to follow specific objectives outlined in a scope of work to meet these qualifications to receive this funding.
Materials are free to our work sites that qualify. So, for example, each work site that qualifies would get a copy of the California Fit Business Kit. They would get technical assistance implementing all the tools, all the Worksite Wellness Resource Directory, the sell-in brochure. They would get all of that for free. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, that makes good sense. So, yeah, it wouldn't make too much sense to give them money because then they would just kind of appreciate it but not really know what to do with it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay, so you talked about your funding resource. Another question was, how does it work with the USDA? Are they the funding source? What's their budget? How do you do that?
They are the funder, and depending on the regions would dictate how much funding is allocated to each region, primarily on the population of that region. So you look at Los Angeles. Los Angeles has a huge population as opposed to, let's say, Imperial region within Southern California. So that's what dictates how much funding goes toward each region, and in each region is primarily they have, or not all regions, but the majority of them have each of our campaigns, the Latino American campaign, the Worksite campaign, or the Worksite program, the African American campaign, Power Play, which they work with younger children, and also our physical activity integration program. So we have all these 5 different programs that we try and impact on each region, but depending on the population dictates which programs are there, which ones are utilized, how much funding goes to them. So it changes from region to region, I guess is the best way to answer that question.
And this was done through a grant program, I assume, or is this some other funding?
This was done through, this is a grant from the USDA that is renewed every few years.
All right. Teresa, I think we have you now. Is that true?
Well, I don't know, do we?
Yes, we do.
Oh, okay, good. This great presentation, by the way, and I found it to be a very organized and strategic way that you've went about addressing worksite wellness development in your state. And also, are you say you're focusing more maybe on physical activity and nutrition than some of the other areas in the worksite wellness programming?
That is correct. And right now we're with the California Department of Public Health. So, I mean, our specific Worksite Wellness Program, we focus on the Network for Healthy California pillars, which are fruit, vegetable consumption, physical activity, chronic disease prevention, and food security. So we basically focus on those pillars. But that being said, we are very well aware of the fact that worksite wellness is not just limited to those things. So I'm acknowledging right now that worksite wellness can also, stress management can be considered a component of that, tobacco cessation, weight management, occupational health and safety can definitely be considered a part of worksite wellness. So we don't address those areas. We do focus on the 4 I just mentioned.
And they tie together so much anyway. And I know in Kentucky, employers have told us when we've done statewide surveys that obesity is now their number 1 concern. And of course, we know that the physical activity and nutrition address that, and we can't always, well, almost never can we do everything. So by focusing on obesity, you're addressing so many things. Okay.
Right. And in order to address obesity, we basically try to promote the idea that it's not just physical activity, and it's not just fruit, vegetable consumption or nutrition that does it. It's the combination. You have to be physically active and eat your fruits and veggies and eat a nutritional, a diet, a healthy diet that it's only in that manner that you can combat obesity. You can't just focus on one or the other.
Right. Okay. Michaela, do you have another question?
No, I think we are out of time. If people have questions and they just haven't finished typing them yet, don't worry, because we will pass them on to both you guys post-event. And this has been recorded, so you'll be able to listen to it again, and we will definitely grab all those good links and put them on the State of Wellness website for anybody to access later. I think the slides are already there. But this was wonderful. I'm so glad you guys were able to participate. You have great teamwork. You guys were so energetic. Just a great presentation. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And also, just to reiterate, if anybody would like to get a copy of our resources and you're a state-level program, please email either me or Chris, and we would be happy to arrange it.
Awesome. What a great offer. You got to love it when people are so willing to share. Yes, Teresa,
This is
sorry.
Teresa. I was just going to mention real quickly the next webinar coming up on June 16th, the CDC Workplace Health Tools and Resources, and that's Jason Lang is going to be presenting that from CDC, and we do have the challenge out for state leaders, worksite wellness leaders, and others to see how many businesses in your state you can get involved in that webinar on June 16th at 12 o'clock Eastern Time.
Okay.
Awesome. Great.
Thank you very much.
Take care, you guys. See you soon.
You too.
Bye.